In any science classroom, there are concepts that are difficult or even impossible to examine in a traditional setting, such as traveling into a black hole. Luckily, there are simulations available online and on CD-ROM for almost any aspect of science. Science classes and experimentation have always gone hand in hand. By allowing students to participate in scientific experiences, they gain a better understanding of the concepts being taught. Now, with science simulations for almost every topic imaginable, you don't always have to include an actual classroom experiment to give students the benefits of seeing science at work. Computer simulations of scientific events allow students to use higher-level thinking by observing, evaluating, and problem-solving in ways that were previously impossible. Students of all ages can learn through simulations such as virtual frog dissections, inquiry-based online chemistry labs, virtual DNA experiments, simulated plant growth, and experimenting with the laws of physics online. We've just started to examine simulations in a science class, but let's see what you've learned so far. Answer the question and then click the next button to learn more. Simulations that are available online as applets or those on CD-ROM allow you to show your students things you could never do in reality, or to introduce experiments you can do in the classroom, such as dissecting a frog. Because students learn best through interaction, many of these simulations have opportunities for students to actively participate, which will not only interest them, but will help them understand new concepts. The life sciences are just one area of science that can be taught with the help of simulations. Students may find that seeing representations of osmosis, protein synthesis, diffusion, cell division, and life cycles can help them understand the concepts. There are also plenty of simulations of biology labs, including those that allow you to examine organisms under a microscope. These simulations are so advanced that students can actually control the magnification as well as move the samples in different directions. Dissection has been part of the biology classroom for a long time. With the simulations that are now available, you don't have to endure the smell of formaldehyde to give students the experience of dissecting. Perhaps you want to do dissections in class, but don't have the funds to do so. Or maybe there is an animal you want your students to dissect, but you don't have access. By going online to do a virtual dissection, or by purchasing one of the available dissection programs, you can give students the opportunity to dissect everything from a frog, to owl pellets, to a cow's eye. Many of these sites also have assessment tools to test what your students have learned. Through simulations such as those from Visible Human Project, your students can see high-resolution photographs and 3D renderings of human anatomy. Students can even take a guided tour of a human body. There are also programs available that are designed to allow the user to navigate with the anatomy, as well as probe and label the structures. In addition to viewing simulations of human anatomy, students can also use the Internet to carry out virtual diagnostic tests, diagnose virtual patients, and view biological processes through animations. Through these types of activities, students can put what they've learned to work in ways that they will find very interactive and interesting. As we've covered some examples of how simulations can be used in science classrooms, have you thought of some ways in which simulations could help you in your classroom? Take a moment to list some of the concepts that could be taught with the help of simulations. When you're done, click Next to get some ideas for using simulations in a chemistry class. A big part of chemistry class is doing experiments. Along with simulations that show chemical processes such as combustion, corrosion, and evaporation, there are also simulations of chemistry labs. Your students can use these simulations to calculate molar volume, examine titration, separate crude oil into its components, and determine the specific heat of a metal. In addition to simulations for biology, anatomy, and chemistry, there are numerous simulations for the physical sciences as well. You can find simulations of dynamics, gravitation, waves, and electrostatics, just to name a few. Many simulations allow students to get involved by manipulating variables such as vectors and describing the results. Simulations can play a big role in your science lessons. When you come across a topic that is difficult to show in the classroom, or if you've had a lab that you would like to do but can't, or if you just want to provide practice before actually doing something in the lab, take a look at some of the simulations that are available. You might just find what you're looking for. Here are some real-life examples of how the concepts discussed in the lesson could be used in a classroom, either as a teaching tool or an administrative aid.